tonight because for me it's a privilege and an honor to speak to such an elite group of students, their families, and friends. Often when I hear a speaker for the first time, I ask myself this question: is there anything about that speaker that they would want me to know that wasn't listed on the biography? And so the one thing that I want you to remember about me tonight is that I am an ordinary individual with an extraordinary desire to invest in and impact the lives of others. That's really what I thrive to do. Now, very much like you last year, as Dr. Sternglanz alluded to, I was sitting mid-center there as my son was being inducted as the vice president of Psi Chi. And he doesn't even know this, but I actually went out and purchased a nice outfit to come here. And I was very excited as a mom, as a proud mom. But in hindsight, I was really more excited for him because I realized that this was another milestone for him in a profession that I know that he's chosen, that he truly loves. Now, as I look around this room, I ask myself, how many people here started their schooling when they were young, when they were 17 or 18? How many of you? How many of you guys started when you were in your 20s? Anybody in their 30s? In their 40s? Now, I get to embarrass my son a little bit now because I actually went back to school very, very later on in my life as a single mom. I was a single mom with Danny from the time that he was 4 years old. Now, if you knew Danny, you would know that Danny is a very intellectual and intelligent young man. He has a good balance of being a strong yet tender individual, and he also has a compassion. He has this affiliation towards children, the elderly, and animals. But there's one other thing, which is really what I'm using on my slide about Danny. If you knew him on a very personal note, is that he is a sports enthusiast. Some people might say that he's so good in sports that he's actually a sports aficionado, and I would agree with that. But I think that some of the ladies in the audience, some of the women, the wives, the girlfriends, would agree with me that if I were to really talk about Danny's love of sports, this boy is a sports fanatic. Now, I don't say that just because at any given time of the day, if you walked into our home and Danny's not pinned to one of the ESPN channels that DirecTV has to offer, that's if he's not doing schoolwork, of course. I say that because from the time that Danny was a little boy, Danny could regurgitate. It was very fascinating. He could regurgitate things like batting averages, number of touchdowns, free throw percentages, but not just for athletes of his time. The boy knew these statistics for athletes that had either retired or had passed away even before he was born. You could ask him anything, and he's sharp where it concerns that. Now, I know that some of the inductees are saying, well, Haydee, what does what does this mean, MVP? At the end of each season, because he's the sports fanatic, Danny waits for every league to make a very important nomination. Anybody want to take a guess at what that is? Most valuable player. Very, very good. Now, sometimes Danny agrees with that choice of who they nominate. Sometimes he disagrees with the choice. But the one thing that he always does is that he admires the choice because he understands that to be named the most valuable player doesn't just come with ability, although ability is important. It comes with a means of dedication, of perseverance, and of sacrifice on behalf of that person. Now, I'd like the inductees, because I see you can't see the slide, just for 1 second to turn around and look at the title slide. My title slide says MVP for your field. Is that the real question? When I typed up this slide, I really didn't mean for it to be a trick question, but I'm going to prove to you right now that it is kind of like that trick question that most professors sometimes sneak into an exam. And the moment that you read that question, you're just like, there's something about this question that I'm not going to get right. Because the truth of the matter is that my question to you is, not will you be a most valuable player for this field, but do you have a mission, a vision, and a passion for it? So let's look at our first slide. Mission is your cause. Mission is that will let you put something into action. Mission will be the one thing that you are prepared to defend and advocate for no matter what. Mission is any work that someone feels it is their duty to do. If it's your mission, you're going to want to have that accomplished. Your mission becomes part of your trajectory, your pathway, your destination. Your mission will determine what you'll do, how how you'll do it, and who you'll do it for. So in actuality, your mission actually becomes part of your purpose and why you've been placed on this earth at such a time as this. Interestingly enough, the other day I was watching PBS Channel 2, and I came across a show of a gentleman by the last name of Liebman. And Liebman said something that I thought was fascinating. He said, most people, when you ask them the question, what are the two most important days in anybody's life? They'll respond by saying that it's the day that a person is born and the day that the person dies. And Liebman said that he did not agree with that statement. And he said this, the two most important days of anybody's life are the day that they're born and the day that they discover why they're born. So the day that all of you discover what your mission is and your purpose is in this life will be a very significant and grandiose day for you. Now, the second letter of this acronym, the V, stands for vision. And vision is the effect of your cause. Vision will be that scope of lenses by which you'll be able to look at your future goals and perspectives. Okay? Your vision will be that will allow you to look forward if you allow it to look forward. To me, without vision, forward thinking is clearly impossible. Now, the word vision, very interestingly, comes from the Latin word visionem, which means wisdom. And to me, on a personal note, that's one of two things that I actually seek every day. I ask for wisdom and discernment. Because as a psychotherapist, I know wholeheartedly that I'm going to need both those attributes to help my counselees. Your vision, I want you to listen to this for a second. Your vision will empower you to anticipate that which you will accomplish. I didn't say that you might accomplish, that you could accomplish. No, your vision will empower you to anticipate that you will accomplish. Because if you're steadfast and you hold on to that vision, your vision is going to give you this aspirational mental picture of where you're actually headed. The last letter of the acronym is the P, and that stands for passion. Passion, who can tell me what passion is? Somebody want to give me a definition? Excitement, euphoria. Passion is boundless enthusiasm. So I have two questions for the inductees tonight. Is your passion limitless, and is your passion contagious? Because you will not be able to sell me a product that you don't believe in. And you will not be able to get me to love something that you first haven't loved. Passion will be what will fuel both your mission and your vision. Passion will allow you to persevere, but not just haphazardly, halfway. It will allow you to persevere with confidence. Passion will be maybe what will get you out of bed every day. Maybe much like me, I get up at the crack of dawn before Danny ever is even thinking of getting up. And will allow you to face an imperfect world that still houses some imperfect people and still do what it is that you love to do if you don't allow your passion to fizzle away. Now, interestingly enough, the origin of the word passion is a Latin word, patior, which means to suffer. What an oxymoron that is. I just told you a few seconds ago that it's this euphoric state, that it's excitement. And if you do research on the word passion, actually those are the kinds of descriptions that you'll find because the word has evolved into meaning all those positive definitions. But to me, that word suffering, that definition has a purpose and a place in truly understanding what passion is. If I took a poll tonight, I would venture to say that most of you know what it is to be sleep deprived nights in a row. Editing that paper. The paper's got to get done. How many of you perhaps have had to abandon up going out on a weekend with friends or family because midterms are coming up on Monday and you don't want no B+, you want an A. So to me, the same passion that allowed you to arrive here tonight, to receive the accolade that you're about to receive, and the honor that you're about to receive came with a means of sacrifice and suffering on your behalf. Now, I'd like for you to turn around one quick second, and I want you to look at the face of this gentleman. This is Sir Edmund Hillary. Sir Edmund Hillary was born in 1919. He was an expeditioner and an explorer. And listen to this, after knowing that 8 other people had attempted to climb Mount Everest and had failed at that task, Being a smart man, he enlisted the help of a guide from that area who would help him carry additional oxygen. And in 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary becomes the first man to ever climb Mount Everest. Now, the highest peak of Mount Everest is 29,029 feet high. To give you an idea in lay terms of what that might look like, it's a building that stands 2,322 stories high. Now, I don't know about you, but that guide that he enlisted the help of to carry the oxygen would have been carrying me up that mountain, because there would have been no way that I would have ever made it up there. Now, I wanted to share two quotes with you that he wrote, and the first one is up on my slide, and it says this: "No great achievement comes without obstacles, physical limitations, the vagaries of nature, or resistance from the outside world. Although our achievers sometimes met with failure, they never abandoned their dreams, but doggedly persevered until they succeeded against the odds." After Sir Edmund Hillary gets knighted by the Queen, they have parades in his honor, and he becomes a pretty renowned individual. He writes another quote, which I thought was genius, considering what he had just achieved. And it says this: "It is not the mountain that we conquer, but ourselves." So do not allow anyone ever to place a limitation on what you can or cannot do, because it will only be your positive self-talk or your own negative self-talk that will make you be successful or will lead to your demise. Now, with the permission, and I don't want anybody laughing here, with the permission of the audience, I'm going to face the inductees for a second. And I want you to think for 1 minute about a boxer. A boxer gets up on the boxing ring, and sometimes he takes up something called the boxer stance. Right, I'm not a boxer, but just bear with me. I know I don't look like a boxer, but bear with me. Now, he puts both one foot in front of the other. I'm assuming this is for some kind of leverage, although I don't know much about boxing, which would make sense to me, correct? And he picks up two fists, and I've noticed that he places those two fists up at eye level almost. Now, I'm sure that as he's facing his opponent, he's sending some intimidation, some subliminal message to that opponent. But I just wonder if he is also sending a message to himself that would go something like this: "Dear self, I have 2 feet planted on the ground tonight. I've arrived here because I've prepared for this fight. Dear self, I have 2 fists in front of me, which symbolize my strength and my ability. Let me warn you, self, I do not plan to lose this fight tonight. I plan to be the winner. I plan to be named victorious. And guess what, self? I'm walking out of here with a new belt around my waist. Now, I'm going to challenge you to make a commitment tonight, much like the analogy of that boxer. And I'm going to leave you with 3 wishes and challenges for you. Number 1, that you would never abandon the mission, the vision, and the passion that you yourselves gave birth to one day. No one but you. Number 2, that you would be successful in all of your future endeavors because you would promise to follow your dreams. And number 3, that you would become ordinary individuals with an extraordinary desire to invest in and impact the lives of others. Thank you for your time, and congratulations.